In the last lecture, we saw that in a finite dimensional space, we can use an ordered basis to convert or encode or digitize every vector into a concrete vector in Fn. So, we have V, a finite dimensional vector space over F, dimension of V is n, then x belongs to V can be digitized. For this we need some digital equipment and that equipment is our basis. So, B equal to u1, u2, un an ordered basis for V. Then every x in V has a unique representation as a linear combination of these basis vectors. Then we construct the vector in Fn and call it as xb, and that is this vector x1, x2, xn, and xi is called the ith coordinate or component, ith component of x with respect to the ordered basis B. Now, we have seen, suppose we have two ordered bases B equal to u1, u2, un, and B prime is u1 prime, u2 prime and un prime. So, both are ordered bases for V. Then, if we take a vector x in V using the ordered basis B, we can convert it to a vector xb in Fn. On the other hand, if we use B1 or B prime, if we use B prime, then we can convert the vector x in V to the vector xb prime in Fn. If you now look at these two vectors xb and xb prime, these are two different vectors in Fn, but they have both emerged from the same original vector x in V, and therefore, we expect that since they represent the same vector, there must be some connection, there must be some relationship between xb and x prime. Since xb and xb prime represent the same vector x, we expect them to be related. In some way, an algebraic relation, because everything is algebra here. So, what is this relation? What is this relationship between these two representations? So, if we have the same vector represented in two different ordered bases, the two representations must somehow be connected with each other because they come from the same original vector. We are trying to explore and find out what is this connection between these two. Obviously, the connection must come from the connection between the basis B and basis B prime, because these are the two fellows taking them into two different vectors. So, the connection between B and B prime will establish the connection between xb and xb prime. So, we must now look at the connection between xb and B prime. Obviously, so we write obviously this connection, this relationship will depend on the relationship between the two ordered bases B and B prime. Now, therefore, we must ask how do we find this relationship? How do we find this relationship? So, let us again look at these two bases. B is u1, u2, un, B prime is u1 prime, u2 prime, un prime. Now, we have seen that any vector x in V can be converted to a vector in Fn through the basis B prime as x B prime. That connection is what that conversion is what we is denoted by x B prime, the digitized version or the encoded version in Fn. Now, we now apply this transformation or this digitization using the basis B prime for the B vectors. So, in other words, I can take x to be u1, u1 is certainly in V. So, I can use B prime. So, I should get a vector in Fn which is representing u1 in the basis B prime. Since this is a vector in Fn, let us denote it by B1, B2, Bn. And in order to make sure that we do not forget that we are representing the first vector in the B basis, we will put an additional index here 1, the second index denoting that we are looking at the representation of the first vector in the B basis. Similarly, if we now take u2, that can be represented in the B prime basis as a vector u2 B prime in Fn, and that vector again we represent it as B1, B2, Bn. There will be a second index 2 in order to ensure that we are talking about the second base vector. So, in general, if you take uj, the jth vector in the B basis, you can use the B prime basis to represent it as uj B prime as a vector in Fn, and that vector's component are B1, B2, Bn, and the second index j says that we are looking at the jth vector in the B basis. So, what we have done is we have looked at the basis B, and each vector in the basis B is now converted into an Fn vector using the B prime basis. Now, we have how many vectors in Fn? There is one vector in Fn corresponding to u1, there is one vector in Fn corresponding to u2, and there is one vector corresponding to uj for every j between 1 and n. Therefore, we get n vectors in Fn. What are these vectors? The representation of u1 in the B prime basis, the representation of u2 using the B prime basis, and so on, the representation of uj using B prime basis, and so on, the representation using un and the B prime basis. So, thus we get n vectors in Fn. We put them all together in the form of a matrix, the first column of which is the representation of u1 in B prime basis, the second column of which is the representation of u2 in B prime basis, and so on. So, now we construct a matrix, and it will have n columns, and each column is in Fn. So, it will have n rows. So, it will be an n by n matrix since all the entries are from F, so it will be an n by n matrix in Fn cross n as follows. Its first column is U1 B prime, its second column is U2 B prime, its jth column is Uj B prime, and so on, its nth column is Un B prime. Now, if we look at the components we have already got, we got the U1's component as B1, B2, Bn. We put the second index as 1 to say that we are looking at the first vector. Then we got the components of U2 as B1, B2, Bn, and we use the second index 2 to say that we are looking at the vector U2, and so on and so forth. And when we come to Uj, we have B1, B2, Bn and the second index j, and so on, and finally B1, B2, Bn and the second index n. So, this is the n by n matrix that we construct. These are all the components of the B basis vector in terms of the B prime basis vector. So, let us call this matrix as it is B basis vectors in terms of the B prime basis vector. So, we will use the notation B sub B prime. So, it is a representation of the B basis in terms of the B prime basis. How does this help? At least this gives you a compact digitized version of the relationship of the B vectors in terms of the B prime vectors. This is what we were looking for. We were saying that the two representations of a given vector in terms of the B and B prime basis will obviously depend on the relationship between the B and B prime basis. Now, we have captured in some form the relationship between the B and the B prime basis. Now, let us take any vector x in V. So, consider a vector x in V. We know that any vector x in V has a unique representation in terms of the basis vectors. So, let us represent x in terms of the B basis. It is x1 u1, x2 u2 plus xn un. That is the representation of x in terms of the B basis. This means when we digitize or we find the corresponding vector x, the coded version in Fn, that has to be formed out of these components. So, it will be x1, x2, xn. On the other hand, we also have x. If we write this in simple to save time or to compact notation, we will write it as xj uj. Now, we have seen that the uj is precisely having this representation in the B prime basis. That means, uj is b1j u1 prime, b2j u2 prime, bnj uj prime. So, this will tell me that is equal to summation j equal to 1 to n xj uj can be written as I equal to 1 to n bij ui prime, because now we are representing in the B prime basis, the B basis vectors in terms of the B prime basis. There is a double summation and everything is finite sum. So, you can rearrange the summation and write it as I equal to 1 to n summation j equal to 1 to n bij xj into ui prime. So, I can write this as I equal to 1 to n sum alpha I times ui prime. So, that says x can be expressed as a linear combination of the B prime basis vector with the coefficients of alpha I. So, therefore, the representation of x in the B prime basis must be alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha m. But we know we have represented it as x 1 prime u 1 prime plus x n prime u n prime. I am sorry, x as we can use the notation x is equal to this, and hence x b prime must be x 1 prime x n prime. On the one hand, we have x b prime as alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n. On the other hand, we have x b prime as x 1 prime, x 2 prime, x n prime, and that says that the vector alpha 1 or the vector, let us put it this side, the vector x 1, x 2, x n prime must be the same as the vector alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n. So, comparing this representation here and comparing with this representation here, we get this x 1 prime, x 2 prime, x n prime must be alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3. But now, if you look at alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, if we look at alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, we called this entire sum as alpha I, and therefore, we get this is the same as summation. If you look at this, it will be T B 1 1, let us put it this way, B 1 I x, B 1 j x j, j equal to 1 to n, B 2 j x j, j equal to 1 to n, and so on, summation j equal to 1 to n B n j x j. With it is simply the product of the matrix B B 1 and the x b. So, thus we get x b prime is B B prime times x b. This gives us the connection between the representation of this vector x in terms of the basis B prime and the representation of the same vector x in terms of the basis B, and the connection is through this matrix, which is a compact form of representing the relationship between the basis B in terms of the basis B prime. So, thus we get x b prime is equal to b b prime x b, which is the connection between x b prime and x p which we were looking for. Similarly, if we interchange the roles of b and b prime, interchange roles of b and b prime, we get x b will be, now we have to represent the b prime basis in terms of the b basis, and here it will be x b prime. So, we can, knowing the representation of x in terms of the basis b, you can get the representation of x in terms of the basis b prime by the connection between b and b prime, and knowing the representation of x in terms of the basis b prime, we can get the representation of x in terms of the basis b by connecting b prime with the b basis. Combining these two results, if we now substitute for x b prime, from here we get this is b b prime into x b. So, therefore, what we get is x b is equal to b prime b into b b prime into x b, and this is true for every x belonging to B. Now, we leave it as an exercise to see that let us make that simpler. Call this metric, let B prime B, remember this is an n by n matrix, times B B prime, which is also an n by n matrix, call this matrix as K. Then we have x B is equal to K x B for all x in B. So, if we take any x in B and look at its representation in the B basis, it is the same as K times its representation in the B basis, and we expect therefore, K is identity. So, exercise, take x equal to u1, conclude first column of K is 1 0 0 0 0, and in general take x equal to uj and conclude jth column of K is the column 0 0 etc., until you come to the jth stage and all are 0. This is the jth entry. The jth entry is 1, which simply means the columns of K are the same as the columns of the identity matrix, and hence K equal to In. That is B prime B into B B prime is equal to identity. So, the representation of B prime in terms of B and the representation of B in terms of B prime are inverses of each other. So, to get the representation converted from B language to the B prime language, you represent the B basis vectors in terms of the B prime basis vectors. To convert the information in the B prime language to the B language, represent the B prime basis vectors in terms of the B basis vector. Once we have this, remember x B prime is B B prime into x B, and x B is B prime B into x B prime. Let us look at a simple example. Let us look at the space V equal to F3. Let us first take a basis B, which is the usual ordered basis we always start with, which is 1 0 0, 0 1 0 and 0 0 1. And then if you take any vector x, x1, x2, x3 in F3, then its representation in the B basis is just x1, x2, x3. Let us now take a new basis B prime, which is u1, u2, u3, where the u1 is 1 1 0, u2 is 1 0 minus 1, u3 is 0 1 minus 1. Then we have seen that the representation of x in the B prime basis is x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 2, x1 minus x2 minus x3 by 2 and minus x1 plus x2 minus x3 by 2. This we found out in the last lecture. So, we have the two representations. Now, how are they connected? To look at the connection, we must represent B in terms of B prime. Let us look at the connection between the basis B and basis B prime. Now, for that we look at the first vector in the B basis and try to represent it in terms of the B prime basis. It turns out we can see easily that half u1 plus half u2 minus half u3 is u1. Similarly, E2 is half u1 minus half u2 plus half u3, and E3 is half u1 minus half u2 minus half u3. Now, how do I construct the matrix B in the B prime basis? For that, I take the first basis vector in the B basis, represent it in terms of the B prime and put those components as the first column. The components now are 1 half, half and minus half. Similarly, we look at the second basis vector E2, its representation in the B prime basis and put the components as the second column. And finally, we look at the third basis vector and look at its components and put it as the third column. We have half, minus half and minus half. Now, it is verify, we want to construct x b prime from the known information of x b, we must have b b prime. What does that mean in this case? Remember, this was x 1 plus x 2 plus x 3 by 2, x 1 minus x 2 minus x 3 by 2 minus x 1 plus x 2 minus x 3 by 2. This must be equal to the B matrix into x b is just x 1, x 2, x 3. It is now easy to verify that this holds. Okay. Just it is now a matrix multiplication verification, and this is precisely what we mean. In this case, what is B prime B? That is very easy. It is just 1 1 0, 1 0 minus 1, 0 1 minus 1, because we want to represent the B u1 u2 u3, we want to represent u1 u2 u3 in terms of e1 e2 e3, which is a very simple straightforward computation, and therefore, we get B prime B as this. Now, all we have to do is check that this B prime B we have got thanks B B prime that we have above gives us the identity matrix. It is easy to check this, it is just a matrix multiplication and we can verify that this is indeed true. So, thus in order to look at the connection between two representations coming out of two different bases, we must always look at the connection between the two bases. If you want to convert from the B language to the B prime language, you should convert the basis vectors in the B language into the basis vectors into the B prime language. Similarly, if you want to convert from B prime language to the B language, you must convert the basis vectors in B prime to the B language, and that is why that is how we construct these matrix for the transformation. So, therefore, we have the connection between these two representations neatly contained in a simple matrix which stores the information about the connection between the two ordered bases. Now, let us have a further look, a closer look at the representation x b. Which seems to be a very useful representation, because it helps us to convert any vector in the vector space V into a concrete digitized form as x b. So, what we have is, here is a vector space V whose dimension is n, and here is Fn. So, V is a vector space, dimension V is n, and we have Fn. So, if you choose an ordered basis B for V and take a vector x, it gets converted to a vector xb through a basis B. So, the moment you have an ordered basis B for V, the basis, any vector in V gets converted to a vector in xb in Fn. Now, suppose we take two vectors, then y will get converted to yb. So, we have this conversion of every vector in V into a vector in Fn, or you look at it, x has been encoded as xb, y has been encoded as yb. So, x has been encoded as xb, and the encoding apparatus is the basis, ordered basis B, and y has been encoded as yb. So, we have these two vectors. Now, how good is this encoding? How good is this encoding? Now, we should investigate, in fact, we do not even know what we mean by good, what is meant by good, but let us look at this question carefully. Now, we have encoded the vector x into xb, we have encoded the vector y into yb. Now, in the vector space V, this vector x and this vector y can be added to get a vector x plus y. In the vector space V, the vector x and the vector y can be added to get a vector x plus y. Now, since x plus y is a vector in V, that can be encoded as x plus y b in the space Fn. Now, we have done the addition on the V side. Suppose we do the addition after encoding x, we did the vector x and the vector y and then added and then encoded. Instead, we encode the x, we encode the y and then add. Will I get the same? That is the question. So, in other words, if we add and encode or encode and add, do we get the same answer? If so, it is good. If we get the same answer, it is good, because then we know that the digitized version preserves additions. If you can add this side, you can add the digitized versions also. Let us look at this. Suppose x gets coded as xb, x1, x2, xn. This means x is equal to x1 u1 plus xn un, where u1, u2, un is the ordered basis B. So, let us recollect, B will always denote by u1, u2, un. So, if B is the ordered basis for V, x goes to xb means x is equal to x1 u1 x2 u2. Similarly, y goes to yb, or y is coded as yb, which is y1, y2, yn. This means y equal to y1 u1 plus etcetera yn un. Now, if x is, now we are doing the addition in the V side. This is a vector in V, this is a vector in V. So, if we add, what do we get? We get x plus y is x1 plus y1 into u1 plus x2 plus y2 into u2 and so on, plus xn plus yn into un. That means, we have represented the vector x plus y as a linear combination of u1, u2, un. The moment we represent as a linear combination, the coefficients are the one that are that is going to determine the digitization. So, x plus y, its representation must be x1 plus y1, x2 plus y2 and so on xn plus yn. but this is x 1 x 2 x n plus y 1 y 2 y n by the addition rule in f n, but that is the same as x b. The first one is x b and the second one is y b. So, therefore, what we get is, if you add and then represent, it is the same as represent and then add. So, add and represent or represent individually and then add. Notice this plus refers to plus in V, this plus refers to plus in f n. So, we have therefore, that the encoding or digitization or the identification of x in V with x b in f n through the ordered basis B preserves addition. That is, you can add and identify or identify and add. These two are commuting operations. Similarly, if you identify x with x b, which is x 1, x 2, x n, then that means x is x 1 u 1 plus x n u n. That means, for any alpha, alpha x will be alpha x 1 u 1 plus alpha x n u n for every alpha in f, which means alpha x, the scalar multiple of x with the scalar alpha, has this linear combination representation in terms of u 1, u 2, u n. Now, the coefficients will be the ones that will be used to get the representation, and hence alpha x b will be alpha x 1, alpha x 2, alpha x n. That is indeed equal to alpha times x 1, x 2, x n, which is equal to alpha x b, which means, therefore, we get alpha x, its representation is alpha times the representation of b. So, in other words, what this says is scalar multiply in V and then get the representation. It is the same as first get the representation and then scalar multiply in f n, and both are going to yield the same results. So, that means the identification of x in V with x b in f n preserves scalar x b in f n, of course, through the basis b, preserves scalar multiplication. Thus, we have seen that this identification preserves addition and scalar multiplication. The addition and scalar multiplications are the bread and butter algebraic operations in the vector space, and these are preserved, means it preserves the algebra, it preserves the algebraic operations. So, thus x to x b through the basis b preserves addition and scalar multiplication the two basic operations in a vector space. This suggests, or this leads us to the notion of linear transformations. This leads us to the notion of linear transformations. Linear transformations. So, let us give a definition. Let V and W be any two vector spaces over a field F. Let V and W be any two vector spaces over the same field F. Then a map, a function T from V to W, which is such that it preserves addition and scalar multiplication. What does that mean? It preserves addition means if you add two vectors in V and then transform, it should be the same as transform individually and then add for every x y in V. Notice that the plus here refers to the plus in V, because x is in V, y is in V, therefore, this plus is addition of vectors in V. The plus here is the addition in W, because T x is in W and T y is in W, and therefore, this is the W addition. So, this is what is meant by it preserves addition, and it preserves scalar multiplication means take a vector x, multiply it by a scalar in V and then take the transformation. It should be the same as transform the vector x and then multiply by the scalar for all alpha in F and for all x in V. Once again notice that this scalar multiplication is in V and this scalar multiplication is in W, because this vector is in x and we are multiplying by alpha. So, this is a scalar multiplication in V. This vector T x is in W, because T takes vectors from V to W. So, this is a vector in W and we are multiplying by a scalar a vector in W. So, this is a scalar multiplication in W. Such a if you have a transformation from V to W, which is such that it preserves addition and scalar multiplication, then we say T is a linear transformation from V to W. Now, at least for the LT stands for linear transformation. It is a linear transformation from V to W. Let us look at some examples. Let us make one remark. We have taken any two vector spaces V and W. In particular, if I take W to be also same as V, then we get a transformation from V to V, which preserves addition and scalar multiplication. In other words, you are encoding V vectors as V vectors without destroying the addition and scalar multiplication. So, in other words, in particular, if V equal to W, then a linear transformation from V to V is called a linear operator. On V. So, let us look at some examples of linear transformations and linear operators. Obviously, the whole definition was motivated by our identification of a vector in an n dimensional space through an ordered basis with a vector in Fn. So, let us take that as the first example. So, V an n-dimensional vector space over a field F. Then be an ordered basis for V. Now, we define a transformation T, which of course depends on the ordered basis B. So, we will write T B, which take V vectors to F n vectors as, how is it defined? It takes the vector x in V to its basis representation T B equal x equal to x B. And we have seen that this identification preserves scale addition and scalar multiplication. This is what motivated us the definition of linear transformations. So, we have seen if you add vectors and then identify, it is the same as x b plus y b, and which is the same as t b x plus t b y, and t b alpha x is, which is alpha x b. We saw that this is the same as identify then multiply, which is equal to alpha t b x. So, T B preserves addition and scalar multiplication, hence T B is a linear transformation from V to F n. So, thus every ordered basis on an n-dimensional vector space produces a linear transformation from that vector space to F n. So, thus every ordered basis in an n-dimensional vector space V over F produces a linear transformation T B from V to F. So, that is our first example, which actually motivated our definition for linear transformation. Let us look at simpler examples now. Take V to be F 3 and W to be equal to F 2. Define a transformation T from V to W as follows. Now, what should T do? T should take vectors from V and convert them to vectors in W. Vectors in V are in F 3. So, they have 3 components x 1, x 2, x 3, and it should convert them to 2 component vectors. So, T must take a 3 component vector and convert it into a 2 component vector. So, let us say it is 2 x 1 minus x 2 plus x 3 and x 1 plus 2 x 2 minus x 3. So, this is the transformation. The vector x, if the vector x is x 1, x 2, x 3, it is now converted, this is T x, it is converted into a 2 component vector. Now, what is x plus y? X plus y is the vector x 1 plus y 1, x 2 plus y 2, x 3 plus y 3. We take x to be x 1, x 2, x 3, y to be y 1, y 2, y 3. Now, how does T transform x plus y? Let us observe this carefully. The way T transforms is, it takes a 3 component vector and converts it into a 2 component vector. How are these 2 components formed? The first component that is to be formed is made up of all the 3 components of the original vector. It takes 2 parts of the first component, subtracts it from one part of the second component and adds one part of the third component. So, if you want to do the same thing, we have to take 2 times the first component of x plus y. What is the first component of x plus y? x1 plus y1. From that, we must subtract the second component of x2 and then add the third component of x3. Then the second component of the transformed vector is formed by adding twice the second component of the original vector to the first component and then subtracting the third component. Doing the same thing, we get twice the first the x1. So, the first component is what we should take, the first component of x plus y plus twice the second component. So, plus twice x2 plus y2 plus minus the third component of the vector you are transforming. So, this is what the transformation of x plus y. Now, now it is a simple manipulation to see, or simplification to see, that this is the same as Tx plus Ty. We know what should be Tx. Tx should be obtained from here and Ty will be obtained from here, replacing the x's by the y's. If we add the 2, we get precisely this. Similarly, T of alpha x is equal to alpha T of x. So, T is a linear transformation from F3 to F2. Now, we have chosen the values 2 minus 1 plus 1 here, 1 2 minus 1 here. We could have chosen any a, b, c and another alpha, beta, gamma, it would have still worked. So, it is easy to check. Similarly, T from F3 to F2 defined as T of x1, x2, x3 equal to a11 x1 plus a12 x2 plus a13 x3. So, certain proportion of x1, certain proportion of x2 and certain proportion of x3. Similarly, a21 x1 plus a22 x2 plus a23 x3 is a linear transformation from F3 to F2. Let us observe this linear transformation little carefully. T x1, x2, x3 is Tx, and the right hand side can be written as a11, a12, a13, a21, a22, a23 times x1, x2, x3. So, if we call this as the matrix A, then this is equal to Ax. So, therefore, if we had chosen arbitrarily A1, A2, A12, A13 etc., we get a matrix A which is a 2 by 3 matrix, and that automatically produces a linear transformation on the space F3 to F2. So, the conclusion is any 2 by 3 matrix A belonging to F2 by 3 produces a linear transformation T from F3 to F2. Since it depends on A, we will write it as A, as T A of x is equal to A times x, and this can be generalized as follows. Written in this form, it is very easy to verify that T A x plus y is A times x plus A times y, because matrix multiplication is distributive, and T A of alpha x is alpha times A x, because scalars can be pulled out of matrix multiplication. The generalization is that if A is any m by n matrix in F n cross n, then it produces a linear transformation T A from F n to F m as T A of x equal to A x. Now, remember that when we are talking about linear systems of equations, it is this sort of matrices that we were interested in. So, therefore, these sort of matrices are connected with linear transformations. So, the study of the structure of linear transformations will automatically give us a lot of information about the structure of the matrix A, and hence the structure of the solutions of the system A x equal to b. We shall begin from our next lecture the study of the structure of such linear transformations on vector spaces.